What's going on, guys? It's your girl Lala coming at you. We're back with the Challenge War of the Worlds, episode 6, and we immediately start to find out exactly who Bear is. Bear is honestly acting like the new Kyle. It's crazy to say that, but I didn't think that Bear was going to be this kind of person, but he makes it very clear that he loves cuddling with Georgia, he loves hanging out with Georgia, but he, number one, wants to kiss Nani, and number two, is more sexually attracted to Nani. He's telling Nani all of this. So, Nani, number one, is a single girl. She's going to do what she wants. But that just looks really bad. And you're doing this in front of the cameras, and I'm sure you don't care, but you look like a D-bag, dude. And what's funny is not only is he admitting this to Nani, but the Weasel is close by, and Wes is listening. Wes is taking notes, and he's planning his next attack. And I love seeing Wes's wheels turn because he does things and he thinks of things that no one else can do and no one else thinks of, and people still continue to trust him. And it's funny. He is in the challenge house for himself, only for himself. I mean, Dee, obviously, because that's his partner, but anyone else he has no loyalty to. And I'm almost positive that if it got to the point where the teams were split up for the finale, Wes would have no issue taking Dee down. That, I just call it like I see it. We then go over to Cam and Theo, and they are flirting so hard. You can tell that they really like each other, and Leroy is really upset. Leroy is saying that, he just doesn't understand how Cam can sit there and flirt with another guy in front of him. Well, I mean, according to Cam, you never wanted to be with her to begin with when she actually wanted to be with you. So it's interesting that now that she's not giving you the time of day, you all of a sudden care and you all of a sudden want to work things out. You should have thought about that before. So we get to the next challenge, and it's called Dune Buggy, and it's badass. Like, this is badass. So basically, there are 10 tires attached to ropes and then attached to one another behind this really big truck. And each team is split up and they have their own individual run. Now, the object is to basically just jump to the next tire, unhook the rope from the last tire, and keep going. You're supposed to get all the way to the end where the truck is, and there'll be a big red rope, and you must pull that. When you pull that rope, your opponent, if they're still jumping on the tires, their rope immediately releases, which ends their time. So that is how you beat your opponent, and it's a race. They're painting this picture that this challenge is all for Ninja Natalie. And it just so happens that she's the first one up, but she fails. She doesn't even get to the next tire. Remember when I told you guys in the last review that there was going to come a point where she, or they in general, their team was going to have a weakness, and that weakness was going to be very clear and people were going to attack on that weakness. It doesn't seem like this 5-time Ninja Warrior champion is really all that's cracked up to be. So I told you guys, Polly, I told you. And it was honestly, it was nice to watch Ninja Natalie fail because Polly was so upset and he couldn't believe it because he knew that if anybody had a team that each of them got to the end of the truck, he was automatically going to be put up for elimination. It's obvious. So it's Kyle's turn. Obviously, Kyle is going to show off. I mean, that's what he's going to do. Kyle kills it. So Polly's face gets even more red. He's like a tomato at this point. And I am just loving every second of this. There were only a few people that really got it done and got to the end. It was Kyle. Hunter did it. Finally, he's competing. Wes completed it. And Polly did too. And Polly is just so cocky at this point that it's going to be funny to watch his demise. He is going to ruin his own chance at being at the finale. I'm not sure how it's going to happen. I'm not sure when it's going to happen. But it's very clear that he is just so cocky. And dude, you need to bring it down like a few notches. He goes, I came to this challenge to compete. If you thought otherwise, then you're crazy. We get it. You've been competing, but your partner just failed. This is a team challenge. This is not an individual challenge. So you can gloat all you want that you're doing great, but your partner couldn't even jump to the next tire. And she's a 5-time American Ninja Warrior champion. We find out who the tribunal is, and it's funny. It's really funny. The tribunal is as follows: Hunter and Georgia, Wes and Dee, and Kyle and Maddie. Oh, how the tables have turned. In the discussion with the tribunal, they decide to go with Bear and Devon, Polly and Ninja Natalie, and Amanda and Josh. And Wes throws this big bomb. He tells Georgia that Bear is not into her at all, and that he is basically sexually attracted to Nani. He's using you in this challenge to stay in the game. You have someone who is competing well. You have Hunter. He's won a challenge. He's won a final before. So he knows how to get things done. And Bear is just using that to his advantage. I don't really think that Bear cares enough about Georgia. I could totally be wrong. It's so mean, and you could tell Georgia was really trying to keep it together during the meeting with the tribunal. But you can tell that really hurt her to find out that Bear, whether it's true or not, because at this point she doesn't know yet. She only knows what Wes told her. But you could tell she was really hurt just to hear that Bear was not who she thought he was. Georgia immediately goes up to Bear and says, hey, Wes is saying this and that, and other people are saying this and that. Is this true? And he lies. He lies. And then he goes into the confessional and tells us that he lies, and that lying is his best policy, and that is how he's going to get what he wants. Georgia, I really hope while you're watching this, you cut that off. He has shown his true colors. He is no good for you. He is no good for anyone. He is all selfish and all about himself. So that was really sad to see. The challengers go out drinking, and while at this bar, Theo and Cam are actually getting even closer to the point that they share a kiss. Not just a little peck, like a full makeout session in the corner. They think that they're in some secret corner, but everyone is sitting there watching them. So it's hilarious. And Leroy is so jealous. He goes up to Cam like, I just spoke to you, like, I told you how I feel, and 2 seconds later you go and kiss this guy. And Cam's like, I'm single, dude. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna do whatever I please, because when I wanted to be with you, you wanted nothing to do with me. And you made it very clear that you didn't want any sort of relationship with me. So it hurt. It did, and I moved on, and now I'm doing what I need to do, and you have a problem with it. And you know what's even more interesting is that we're even talking about this, but Cam and Theo are not even together. Cam was just on yesterday's episode of Game of Clones. So all of this back and forth between why do you like him and why do you like him and da-da-da-da, like none of these relationships are serious. The only one that I can count as a real relationship, Zach and Jenna. They've been together for 5 years. When we get to the killing floor, they decide on Bear and Devon. TJ tells them, decide who you want to go against, and they end up going against Leroy and Shailene. This elimination is called Sandbag Burn. Basically, there are 80 bags of sand, 40 on each side, color-coded with red and black. On go, basically, you have to throw as many sandbags as you think your partner can pull to their side, and you're basically going to trade sandbags. All the sandbags total to 3,000 pounds. I'm a nerd, so I did my math, so each bag is 37.5 pounds. That's heavy, so 2 of those is almost 80 pounds. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know who Shailene is. She's been very quiet this season, but she's this skinny, itty-bitty girl, and she's having a tough time pulling 2 bags. Obviously, that's her weight plus and then some. I'm not sure. So, everyone is killing it. Everyone is getting it done. It's a really hard challenge. It's a really hard elimination, and I don't blame any of them. They are pulling as hard as they can. Bear and Leroy are neck and neck. It's basically up to the girls, and I'm going to give this to Shailene. She did not give up. And that was a really hard elimination for her. That was her first elimination to begin with. She did not give up. And I am proud of you for that, girl. Devon killed it. And so Bear and Devon win and send Leroy and Shailene home. And Leroy said something that people think that the challenge is scripted. I'm not sure when that ever happened or when you ever thought the challenge was scripted. But if you actually watch the challenge, there's no way in hell any of this is scripted. The only thing I will say is that the last finale, Final Reckoning, it was trash. The things that they were doing were not final. I mean, they walked through hot rocks. It was like 2 feet of hot rocks. And finales are usually days long. And I believe this was like only an overnight thing and into the morning. That was it. So it was trash. So that's the only thing I could think of that anybody would say it was scripted or it was in favor of another person. But the challenge has been very good at making it strictly about the challenge. So Bear and Devon win. Congratulations. He is a terrible sport. He starts yelling at Wes and he says, "Every time you put me in here, I'm going to win. You thought I was going to lose? I'm coming after you every single time." And Wes makes it very clear to Bear that he would have killed him in this challenge, in this elimination. He would have murdered him. This was nothing to him. And, Leroy goes to give Bear kind of like a hug and a handshake and whispers in his ear, "Bro, you're being a terrible sport right now. You need to chill." And kind of like pushes him away, like, "Stop. You're making more enemies, Bear. No one likes you. And I can't wait for the day that you go home. Devon, I am so sorry. Like I said, if there's a double elimination, I really hope that they put you up and you kick their ass and Bear loses. I pray that that's what happens." The only thing I will say is that at the end, he kind of pulled it together after Leroy said that. And when TJ hands him the relic, because they're safe now for the next episode, he says, "This was not me. This was all Devon." And I appreciate that. He's been putting her through hell. She's been staying quiet and she performed and she did everything so good. And, he gave her the relic and said, "This was you. This was your challenge." So that's it. It was pretty boring, quite honestly. So I'm excited for the next episode. It looks really good. They're going to be blindfolded. So we'll see. I'm waiting for the trivia one. I can't wait. That is my favorite challenge. That is my favorite episode when TJ says that there's trivia this time. I know all the trivia from the challenge. So TJ, MTV, if you guys are ever watching this, just know that there is a real fan right here and she would love an opportunity to be on the challenge. I will kick their asses. With grace, of course. Alright guys, that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this episode. Sorry it was a bit short today, but like I said, there wasn't really much to talk about. Hit me up on all my social media. I am still phoneless, by the way. I have a few more days before my insurance goes on and I can get my phone. So, we'll see you then. Bye!